cancellation reversal, how did that affect you guys and the sort of atmosphere on set going into season 2?
I have a movie that I reference. I don't know if you know the Jeff Bridges movie Fearless,
Yeah.
where he survives his plane accident and he's kind of freed and unleashed and sort of enjoying his life. It kind of feels that way. I mean, it was really, I felt the show, not only for creative reasons, I felt there were ratings reasons why we should be back. And I was disappointed when we were told we weren't. And then I gotta say, I wasn't completely shocked when they brought us back, only because I knew how much they loved the show, and I knew what the ratings data points were that were in our favor. And so I was like, surprised, but no, that should have been your decision 3 days ago. But it was really exhilarating, and I think in the writers' room, we realized what an opportunity it was. We realized the responsibility, for the fans to be so passionate and to have their voices heard by NBC, and for NBC to so publicly say, you know what, we rethought this and we think we made a mistake and we bring it back. All that goodwill goes away if you then make 10 episodes that suck. You know what I mean? It's all of a sudden it's not such a feel-good story, and so we felt freed, but we also felt a lot of responsibility. Like wow, people really want these episodes, and they're going to get some attention because of this story, and we want to make them as good as it can be. And we'll see if other people agree. We really think this season's better than season 1 when you start seeing all the episodes, and we're just grateful to make it, and so we really value each episode. Each episode we make is an episode that for 3 days we didn't think we were going to get to make.
But I heard there's like a scaling down of production now, and so you're kind of focusing more on, rather than set pieces, like focusing more on the character-driven story, is that right?
There definitely are still some big set pieces, but we moved the show from Vancouver to Los Angeles. We still have the same budget to make the show, but the tax credits are bigger in Vancouver than they are in Los Angeles, and so from a practical standpoint, we have a little less money to make, and so we took that as a challenge. How do we make a better show on less money? And fortunately, we have these characters that our audience really loves. How do we lean into them? We moved our characters into this bunker this season. Which allows us to have our characters not just working with each other, but living with each other, which brings these interesting things. But I'm still amazed at the things that we are able to do. But we had huge things last year, like the Alamo, and the Hindenburg was in the pilot, and pilots are different. But the Alamo and these other big set pieces. But we've got this big suffragette march in episode 7 this year down the streets of 1919 New York. That is, really sort of epic and full of scope and everything. And we have other moments in the show this year. The episode we're about to screen today here, takes place on the Paramount lot where we film, and it looks like grand old-time Hollywood in really spectacular ways. So I don't want to overstate the scaling down of it. Last week's episode that aired, we had all sorts of, old vintage cars racing around a track. That wasn't easy to produce. So we've been able to do it, but we've been trying to be strategic about when we do it, how we do it, and also just leaning into our characters more, which I think ultimately is what attracts the audience the most.
Speaking of characters, how deliberate was it to have both Wyatt and Flynn have dead wives backstories? Because there's so many parallels and connections between Flynn, but Wyatt.
It's something that Eric and I talked about at pilot stage, because obviously that's something that comes out of the pilot for both. And we talked about, is that a good thing that they share this, or is that too much? But ultimately, we liked the parallels of it, and we liked the idea that really, when you get down to it, almost everyone on this show, either in the past or in the course of the show, has someone they care about that they've lost. And really, this show ultimately is a story about how people come together to create their own family. And so So in that sense, that worked for us, and for two guys who don't really get along in almost everything else, it is something that the two of them have in common.
We also, on those lines, see how much Rittenhouse has manipulated people's lives. So
They're bad.
yeah, they're really bad. Well, because Emma point blank said she made it her purpose to make sure Amy can never be found. And will we see that happen, like in retrospect? Like, is that how Flynn lost his wife?
No, but you'll get some clues. I won't say that you'll see what happened with that, but I think you'll learn some more about that. And I'd love to talk about Emma for a second, because she's someone who really just appeared in one episode for us last year, and then we got sort of excited when Annie Wershey was cast. Annie was actually someone that we had considered to play Lucy when we were putting the pilot together. She was a really amazing actress, and she didn't get Lucy, but she was someone who I was like, well, it'd be really great to find something on the show. And her role really increases this year, and we learn a lot more about her and what got her into Rittenhouse and what makes her tick in a way. Eric Kripke is always very good at talking about the importance of making your villains interesting and making your villains be the heroes of their own story. And I think that's something that we've tried hard to do with Emma this year. And you'll see as these episodes continue, she becomes a really valuable cast member to us, and she's really great.
Go ahead. I was going to say, from a creative standpoint with the renewal, has it liberated or hampered you in that, do you feel we got to at least have a closure to it, but at the same time keep it open, or is it just we're going to do whatever we want and let everything happen the way it happens?
I think we feel liberated. Eric and I came in and said, we've got the second life. Let's tell the absolute best stories. Let's not hold anything back. But at the same time, we also believe, Eric and I, that you don't want to assume failure. We're not in the business of giving NBC a reason to, hey, we ended the show, there's no reason to continue. Our attitude is, let's do the best season 2 and let's end it in a way that would allow for the best season 3. So I don't want to say too much about how we end it, other than to say that our attitude is we're going to go forward assuming there's a season 3 and that the show will be a success in that regard, and we'll either be proven right or wrong. But that's how artistically we approached it.
And is there any changes to the lifeboat this season?
Yes. Do you want more specific? No, I'll tease. I'll say. Here's what I'll say. I'll say that Rufus and Gia are working hard. We know that the mothership can transport many people, and the lifeboat has been restricted to transporting 3. And in fact, the one time 4 of them went in the lifeboat, it caused all these problems for Gia. But I will say that Rufus and Gia are working hard to see if there's a way to increase the capacity in the lifeboat. And I'll hint that maybe that happens, and so maybe we won't be limited to only 3 people in some future episodes.
Will you see Gia's premonitions play a greater role
Yes.
throughout the course of the season?
Yes.
And could
Yes.
it possibly give insight?
How many episodes have you seen?
The first 4. I watched all
Okay,
the streamers available.
so then you've seen that.
Yeah.
Yes, she has a premonition in the episode we're about to air that then plays out in episode 4, and I don't want to give away too much, but she starts seeing things that are concerning. And are these things destined to happen, or are they things that can be prevented?
Is that going to affect her relationship with Rufus?
Tremendously.
Yeah, because it backfires in episode 4, and Rufus comes back upset
Yes.
that you did something with it.
Yeah, they're a cute couple who are having some relationship problems. But hopefully they can get through them.
Something that a lot of the fans have been talking about on Twitter too is a lot of them are really devastated by Lucy killing that soldier.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that? Will there be repercussions? Will Lucy carry that with her? How is she going to be handling it?
Once again, without saying too much, I think there is a long-term sort of arc, right? Lucy was always an academic and a historian, and Wyatt was the soldier who had kind of seen combat. And I saw a couple fans were like, well, she would never do that. I would argue, she makes the case episode 1 that if she didn't, that Emma would, and she was in the process of trying to be a sleeper agent herself within Rittenhouse, and but yeah, it's something that weighs heavily on her, and something that I don't think we take death too lightly on the show. And yes, it's something that she's greatly affected by. I think she thinks that if she had been a conscientious objector in that moment, I think Emma would have just taken her gun out and shot the soldier dead. So I don't think in Lucy's mind there was a choice between this guy living or dying. It was just how, and she was in the process. If you think about her state of mind at that moment, she thought, Wyatt and Rufus and Connor Mason, everyone were gone. She thought that she was all on her own. She had been kind of kidnapped by her mother. She, had to play this role of someone who, okay, I'm sort of on your side now. And, how do you do that? It's, I always talk in the writers' room. I spent 4 years working with David Mamet on the unit, and one thing that Dave would always say is that good drama is never the choice between right and wrong. Good drama is a choice between two wrongs. Right, and so one of the things that I'm always trying to push for in the writers' room is to put our characters in a position that they can't avoid, where they have to choose between two wrongs. And in that case, I'm not saying that was the right decision, but I'm saying that was that she only had two wrong decisions to choose from, and that's the choice she made. And there'll be an effect for having made that choice.
And Lucy and Wyatt obviously working together, living together, and they seem to be getting closer. How is that going to affect their relationship this season?
Well, there's an episode that we're about to screen that will turn things upside down. How many episodes have you seen?
2 so far.
What?
The
two that have aired. Well, a lot of things change in the episode we're about to screen without giving away too much. But I would say that the Wyatt-Lucy relationship is the very heart of this show. You never want things to be too easy or too hard, and what I really like about the episodes that we've done this year is that I think we're going to go beyond a simple will they or won't they with Wyatt and Lucy, and it becomes a real thing of who are we and who are we to each other. Who are we as people who work together in this crazy mission to the Passage Week? Who are we as two people living in this bunker? Who are we as friends? And that all this, after this episode that's going to air for America tomorrow night, that we're going to screen today, it's going to get shuffled around a lot.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. So, season finale, we just finished at 7 a.m., 3 hours ago. And...
Go on.
Well, we did finish filming literally at 7 a.m., like a couple of hours. Yeah. We wrapped at 7:15.
Wow.
So how many hours were you shooting?
16-ish.
Wow.
Yeah.
I look terrible.
I had half an hour nap in my trailer, and then I was in a hotel for 2 hours. A 2-hour nap.
And how satisfied do you think that fans will be with the finale?
I think this season is better than last season. The characters are more grounded. The storytelling it was kind of willingness of writers to kind of give back to fans in a way. It was kind of like it's smarter in a way, but it's more fun at the same time. There's a lot of, you guys probably seen the episode, or you're going to see it shortly. Flynn gets out of the jail, and he ends up in a bunker, and a lot of weird dynamics is happening there, and it's a lot of funny situations too, and a lot of kind of heartwarming situations too. So it's a better season. We kind of know what we're doing now. It's we know who the bad guy is, kind of more clear than it used to be, and Flynn is still kind of like this variable that's kind of it's kind of like explosive with the you don't want to shake too much, it might explode. You talking about me? Talking about me? 2.5. I got half an hour in the trailer.
Thank you so much for being here.
No, come on. It's It's literally it is our last day, so it's fine. I can sleep the whole day tomorrow. so it's all good. And the fact is, without the fans, we wouldn't be here for the second season. So to come here and just kind of say thank you and hello, it's not a big deal. I just need more coffee.
What's the vibe like on the set for you guys?
The what, sorry?
What is the vibe like on the set for you guys? Is it fun or is it sort of quite intense? Because obviously you're doing, especially for your character, you're
Yeah.
doing sort of very...
This year, Flynn is actually on a lighter side, put it that way, because he kind of like, I can't say he got his piece, but he recognized that the time team is seriously going after Rittenhouse, so they're not kind of like being as gentle anymore. They're really going after Rittenhouse. So for him, his only thing is like, okay, this is exactly what I want. I don't want to mess this up. I'm going to still try to push my way, but that doesn't mean that I want to destroy this relationship. I don't want to try to steal a lifeboat, and try, because, there is no more hardware for Flynn to kind of support all of this. His lifeboat had a plutonium nuclear generator in there. These guys need to plug it in and charge the damn thing every time. For Flynn, this is like such a bad technology. The funny first scene, he sits in and he goes on the first mission. He's kind of like, are we going to explode or something? This is a piece of crap. So the dynamics on set, the time team, three of them, when we started working kind of together, and I'm not trying to kill anybody. It was kind of a little bit weird in the beginning. We're shooting at the same people in the same time, so Wyatt and Flynn go a little bit of, there's a lot of interesting situations happening. But as a cast, it's just fun to work with these guys. It was like, that's why we were able to do till 7 a.m. We were just like a little bit probably annoying first AD and everybody, because we were like having too much fun. But it's easier to work that way. Yeah. But we did everything. We accomplished everything. That's good news.
I always think how...
Malcolm, Corey, Weiser.
I always think, how come they never did shoot Flynn in the end? Because there was just so many...
They never do what?
They never did shoot Flynn in the end, because there was just so many opportunities in season 1 to take him down. Did you ever think at one point, now they're going to shoot me, now they're going to catch me? And they never ever managed it.
I mean, I knew they won't, personally, because of this guy, we knew what's going to happen and stuff. But there was this kind of like safety net of a diary that said that these things are going to happen. Now, you always kind of get into this mind trap of, what if they actually kill Flynn? Would the journal just disappear? Would the journal just change? Or would it just become like butterfly collection or something? So Flynn kind of have this bravado about him with the time team, because he knows what they don't. He knows that Lucy gave him the journal, and she gave him the journal obviously in the future, and that's why he's kind of a bit reckless with them. That's why you see all these opportunities that are almost happen, but they don't happen, because Flynn knows that they're not going to happen. And in the pilot, there was this big surprise on his face when he gets shot, because that's not mentioned in a journal. He literally gets bullet and he goes like, this is not supposed to happen. So he's kind of careful in that sense, but again, he kind of believes that, I wouldn't say he's indestructible, but he believes that the events are going to unfold how they're in a journal, because like 85% of them are happening, but they're also shifting in the same time as when we change the future.
Are we going to learn more about that? When Flynn...
Yeah, literally, we're gonna, like Lucy and Flynn are having a conversation. Lucy comes in, okay, cut your crap, tell me, how did you get the journal, and I tell her the story.
Oh, perfect.
It's gonna just actually raise more questions. I'm gonna tell you the story, and not now, of course, in a series, and it opens up new possibilities. It's setting up the season 3 in a way that we presume there are going to be some new scientific discoveries that are going to enable time traveling to be done a little bit differently. Because Mason, Gia, and Rufus are constantly tinkering with these machines and stuff. We got cases of we're losing time machine. We don't see it for a long time, and it's pardon my English, but it's a mind fuck. Like in this season, you're going to have a couple of episodes that sci-fi fans are going to be like, "Oh, that's cool." It's like, so
Does it bring Lucy and Flynn closer together in any way? Because there are fans out there that are shipping Lucy.
I wouldn't call it, shipping in that direction, although, I mean, we kind of do things in a way that are unsaid, but you can ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
With Lucy.
Okay.
But
just be prepared for a lot of tweets because fans are already.
Yeah. But after tonight's episode, they're going to be probably disappointed because you've seen the episode. Lucy and Wyatt are kissing and all that stuff. And this time it's not like in Bonnie and Clyde; they actually kiss. But in the same time, Lucy kind of like helps Flynn get out of the jail. So she's the only one who wants to do it. Let me put it that way, because everybody else is like, "What? Really? You're crazy? You're nuts? That guy's like cuckoo." So in the end of the episode, Flynn kind of walks in a bunker, and Wyatt doesn't like it. And Flynn enjoys. He's like,
"Oh yeah,
cool. I told you so. I told you I'm going to be out of prison. I told you General was right, and all that stuff." So I'm looking forward actually to see the new episodes. I've seen only first 4. So I mean, I read the scripts, so I know what's going to happen. But it's always nice to see the
The finished
the
product.
final product. Yeah.
How did you like the
Sorry.
How did you like the decision to
We have
move
time.
shooting to LA?
Like everything in life, double-edged sword. It's like some things were better in LA, some things were better in Vancouver. When we shot the last year's Jesse James episode, Daniel Lissing, who was playing Jesse James, got sick. He got a crazy bug. We're sitting in a car, he's sitting back, and he's like, poor guy's like laying on a bench of a car. I'm like, dude, are you okay? He's like, and we're like, he comes on set, he gets dressed, and he goes on a horse, and so they're like, guys, I mean, you can't work like this, no way. So we reshuffle everything. So we push all our scenes like for 48 hours. Suddenly, Vancouver is like white, covered in snow. So we have to shoot those scenes when they travel actually to find that cabin where Emma is. And suddenly the whole episode is when they go away, we're horseback riding through the snow, and it looked amazing. No production could do that. You needed to have a real snow. So in LA, that's not going to happen. We have a lot of California oak, a lot of kind of Star Trek-y California, and every planet looks the same. But because we don't have too many, episodes, and we have great production design, and we kind of masked it nice. But Vancouver gave us those changes in the season, and but LA has great locations in downtown Los Angeles. You can cheat it for so many different locations. So it was, like I said, it was some good things, some bad things. Being here with a family, that's pretty cool. So every weekend you don't need to fly from Vancouver to LA to see your family. You can just be there. So I think it didn't change the quality of the show whatsoever. It's going to look a little bit different, which is also a good thing.
Which episode of the rest of the season are you most excited to see that you haven't seen yet?
I think season finale and the Salem episode. The episode 4 that goes after the Good Friday. This we're airing this Sunday. Then next Sunday we're off, and then that episode that's coming up in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How are you? Should not be confusing. Perfect your camera angle.
A few minutes, guys.
You have 2 minutes. So.
All right.
Yeah. So it's just enough to banter.
Okay, listen.
What?
So Gia's prophetic visions.
Gia's prophetic visions.
How much horror is it going to wreck on your relationship?
It's going to wreck a whole lot of horror and trust. I think one of the hardest things about a relationship is when people lie to each other and don't trust each other, because it takes away the trust. And I think that kind of winds up wearing on their relationship. Is like, what are the secrets going to tell? How much of the visions do they know? What do they mean? How can they trust them? How do they react? And what does that mean for their relationship? Is she seeing the past? Is she seeing the future? If she's seeing the past, is she really just seeing the future because we haven't gone back to that yet? Mind blown! What else? What do you got? Go.
Oh crap.
Go.
Oh wait, no. sorry. No, I really like the Rufus's initiative this season. Like he came out like a badass.
Yes.
Right there next to Wyatt and called Wyatt on his
Yes.
crap and stuff. So, like, can you tell us more about Rufus's character and those kinds of things coming up this season?
Yes, Rufus has grown a little bit. He, definitely is that same guy, still an introvert, doesn't particularly want to go to the past, but he knows he has to, so he's complaining a little bit less about it. Hook your mic up, don't mess that up, put that mic in there, whatever you gotta do.
Jesus.
Are you ready? Yeah, so Rufus has changed a lot because I think he's still an introvert, but he's still forced to go out there and be something. So he's definitely calling Wyatt on his crap. He's definitely fighting a little bit more than he used to and really growing, and him and Gia, I think that also is helping to make him grow. What else?
Have you ever improvised the like names, the fake names, or are they all written?
They're all written. I very rarely improvise fake names. I usually have something. I usually just improvise random sort of riffs and callbacks. I'm usually the fan service ad-libs, like the clock blocker stuff, and like I did something at the Wendell Scott episode where I go, I don't know, I can do the blah blah blah, which for me was a callback to the James Bond episode when he was trying to disarm the nuke. So I do random ad-libs like that, which uses a lot more this second season. So Rufus and me are the same sense of humor, so you'll see that a lot more this season.
What do you find more satisfying, saving the day from the technical standpoint or from the action standpoint?
Both, man. They're both. I really love exploring a hero whose biggest superpower is his genius. But at the same time, I love it when he's able to scrap and surprise himself at being able to be physical with these guys, and how it doesn't come easy to him. It doesn't come easy to him to fight. It doesn't come easy to him to kill a man, but he knows what has to be done. And Kripke talks about, what makes a really interesting character is not someone who's just willing to fight, but someone who doesn't want to fight and is forced to do so anyway.
Yeah, because in the fourth episode, because of Gia's premonition, he does end up killing someone.
He does.
That he didn't want to.
Yeah.
So will he be putting more jams? Will that really put like a wedge between the two of them?
I think it's going to be a huge wedge between the two of them, is wondering should he trust these things and what he winds up doing as a result. And how that affects the time team in general. And I think really the visions and their ability to trust each other will really come to a crossroads as the season winds down.
Will he push her to reveal that to
I think they both get pushed a lot. Yeah.
How do you like filming in LA?
So much better than Vancouver. I like heat, and I enjoy going home.
Speaking of home,
Yes.
Rufus had, was compromised because of his family in
Yes.
season 1. So are we going to get to see more of those dynamics?
I think what's changed this season is that they don't have the outside influences that they had before. He is, his family, for all intents and purposes, thinks that he's dead. And so everyone in the bunker is the family. And I think the pressure of these 5 people having to deal with each other, is it 5? 6? I don't know. You guys will figure it out in editing. But the pressure of these guys having to be in this one room and deal with each other and not reach their families and the people that they love outside of just here are really going to come to head as the season comes along.
Were you surprised by the intense fan reaction to like get the show back?
Yes. By a lot. I've never had a fan reaction or interplay like that. The closest I was on Better Off Ted, and that was like 2 seasons, and so I had a sort of cult following there. But this definitely took it to a whole new level because this was huge families, kids, moms. My crowd before was, I could tell my demographic. Like white dudes knew me from Sunny in Philadelphia. Black people knew me because I'm black. They could name me as Malcolm. But then. This was the first time where it'd be like some young 17-year-old white kid. They'd be like, "Are you Malcolm Barrett?" I'd be like, "Yeah." They'd be like, "My mom loves you." So like, that's definitely a completely different world that I'm happy to be a part of.
Awesome.
Thank
Okay.
Fire away.
Are we going to see more of your family dynamic?
Yes.
In this
Yes.
season?
Yes.
What else can you say about it?
We'll go back to my house to meet my kids, and we'll learn a nice little bit about Agent Christopher.
Yeah, it's really good for us actually to have a sensible adult who has a proper stable family life.
Yeah, exactly.
And isn't searching for a family that was killed,
Yeah, exactly.
by Rittenhouse, or doesn't have a family at all, or is compromised in some other way. This is the only normal relationship outside this bunker.
Yeah, which is interesting because I played such a badass and a hard ass inside, but I have a lot of, the tenderness is just, I have it, but I have to protect everybody, so I can't let it ooze all over the place, but I definitely have it with my family.
What about your dynamic? Are you guys going to feel your become friends?
Well, honestly, I mean, we don't have a choice. I'm stuck, and she happens to be our boss, as it were. But I think they get to find out who each other is.
Yeah,
it's not happy lovey-dovey, but we get to find out who each other is.
And I think we do respect each other. Yeah. And I think we become everybody in the bunker. We're a surrogate family. So how the ways that develops is really interesting. And I feel there's definitely a moment where he saves me, which is nice. Do you remember that?
I must have been looking away.
Yeah,
when did I save you?
You saved me.
I want you to talk about it. See, this is what I'm trying to encourage you to do.
I feel like you covered my ass.
Oh, good. Because where the screeners leave off with the first 4 episodes, you really embarrass Connor Mason when he's trying to get it.
I know, but I have to do that because he needs to understand the import of how we need to really not leave the bunker. Otherwise, he'll be killed.
Sure.
We'll all be killed.
She does have to stop him, but she didn't have to stop him in that way.
Right.
That was just a bit of extra.
Are we going to see more?
Extra
you just
cruelty.
feel bad for Connor Mason this season. He's just
they get terrible. Things get terrible, but it's his own fault in some ways. Because when you've got lots of money and people to do stuff for you, you do get lazy about all sorts of things that you're meant to be keeping up with. And I think he's lost a step with the technology. He's lost a step in terms of his skills, even as an engineer. He doesn't really know who he is anymore. He's not the boss of anybody. People he's hired, and he loves all the people he's hired. Gia and Rufus, he's had them since they were very, young. And everybody, even Anthony, despite what happened to him, they were good people, and he's lost all of that. He has nothing. He has to start from completely, scratch.
Oh Jesus! Now you're making me feel so bad about what I did.
This is what I do since November. No sympathy. Somebody in the audience will like me.
No,
my mother perhaps.
I said, why do I have to do this? It's so mean. But that was my script.
She was only following orders. Where have we heard that before? Nuremberg, 19.
Wow. Hater.
Do you think either of them would ever travel back with the time team? Given the chance?
There are 4 seats this year. So.
It's possible. It just depends. I mean, there's a limit, isn't there? Because I am of a certain age. Some characters are of a certain age that we can't go
back to a time where we.
Yeah, so you're going to have to go back further for any of us to travel.
Yeah.
Right. Well, but the time team's younger.
Yes.
So would they encounter you guys, younger versions of yourselves?
Easily, that could easily happen if it was necessary,
Okay.
Do you know something we don't know?
No, it's just, fans throw together scenarios that they hope to see and
I
they're excited
love
about
that.
it.
Do you know what I love? I love how smart the fans are.
Yeah.
They're always piecing things together. And then some of them are like,
Yeah.
Have they read the script?
I know.
They're piecing things together.
Some of them try.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like when you at a table read, you're never allowed to just a picture of it and then the script, because then the fans are like, wait. Oh my God.
Because sometimes even the title of something gives it away.
Yeah.
And we're not supposed to show anybody in costume, but then some of the actors are like, look at me, I'm on. We're like, oh, I thought you weren't supposed to show that. Now we know.
If your characters could travel back, is there an event they'd want to change in their own lives, perhaps, or just a period of time that they'd like to see?
God, that's a good question. I think Connor would definitely go back to the time when he said yes to Rittenhouse. Let me think about it. So, I think that's definitely his biggest regret.
Mm-hmm. I think Agent Christopher has experienced so much that she'd love to go to the future to see when it all gets better. I think that would like that.
Are you hinting that they might possibly be able to go to the future?
Is future time travel possible?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the question for the fans.
I feel like
no one knows.
It has to be, because unless everything is pre-written, then you should be able to change your future, but you're already in your future. So
I feel like that march for life today
Yeah.
is that step towards changing the future.
Yeah, nice.
That's where history will save us.
Oops.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
So much.